There are very few mods that wind up getting a sequel, let alone aim to be a full trilogy. One mod series that I've covered a few times over the years is the Rigmor series, having played the original release of Rigmor of Bruma back on Skyrim Legendary, its sequel, Rigmor of Cyrodiil, back in 2018 on Skyrim Special Edition, and its Dragon Child add-on the following year in 2019. Since then, the mod author, Jim, went back to work on the reprised version of these first two mods, with the Rigmor of Bruma reboot releasing in 2020 and the Cyrodiil reboot releasing the year after. And since then, his focus has been on the third and final mod of the trilogy, Rigmor of Tamriel. Today, I'll be showing you a sneak peek at the mod in the form of some of the new cities and locations that you can expect in the third and final installment, as well as share some info about the mod's development, its release plans, and more. Which, thank you to Jim for sharing this early build with me and answering all of my questions so that I could bring you this video today. Some of the music that you'll hear in today's video comes courtesy of the mod's composer, Ardy, so that you can get an idea of what the original soundtrack will sound like. What started as a one-man mod team for the first two mods has changed, with Jim building a new team to bring Rigmor of Tamriel to life. The second mod, Rigmor of Cyrodiil, added the general landmass of the Cyrodiil province, but only a handful of locations were fully designed, as the goal of the mod was to play out an interactive story, so only the necessary locations were built out. It wouldn't be realistic to expect the full province of Cyrodiil from just Jim, when we have teams like Beyond Skyrim that are still working on their projects after all these years. In Rigmor, Bruma and the Imperial City were the main focuses, although we had a couple of inns, settlements, and Ayleid ruins that we got to see as well. And a lot of detail was put into the roads between these locations, to help make your journey between these cities feel a bit more true to the Cyrodiil that we know from the Elder Scrolls 4. The reboot in 2021 also added the city of Bravel as part of its retold story. For Rigmor of Tamriel, we'll see not only more of Cyrodiil itself, but some regions of the other provinces as well, making the mod true to its name. Cyrodiil will ultimately serve as our main hub, but small regions of the other provinces will play pivotal roles in the story, and serve as interactive story zones, similar to the previous mod. And while I don't have a build that shows off the other provinces, the mod aims to show Older Sinium and the Hrothgar Mountains, Jahana in High Rock, and Rihad in Hammerfell. One of the team members from Legacy of the Dragonborn is helping with creating these new maps. 2022 was spent building out the new assets for this new version of Cyrodiil, with 2023 being spent putting everything together, and this year is aiming to be the final push before we see a full release. Even now, the build that I have for this video is a little bit outdated, and one of the many things that Jim has been working on recently is building out and connecting more of the interior cells for different buildings in the cities. And while you shouldn't expect a full one-to-one recreation of Cyrodiil with every dungeon, every bandit camp, and so on, there's a lot of work being done to make the landscapes look more filled in for when you're traveling across the map. Today's video will hopefully help to show some of that, including several shots of the locations from Rigmor of Cyrodiil, including Bruma, the Imperial City, and its surrounding regions. Having not played the second mod in the trilogy since its remaster back in 2021, it was really nice getting to load up the mod and go back to these locations. I had honestly forgotten how well these cities were designed, the amount of time and effort that went into making them largely explorable. Going back and walking through these locations and recording for this video, I also got to listen to the original soundtrack, which really helps to bring the world to life. You may notice some model and texture pop-ins for further out locations, which is ultimately just a Skyrim thing. Of course, you would be able to run Daimdalad to alleviate some of this, the same way that you would for Skyrim's original world space. For this video, I'm using Obsidian Weathers and Rudy ENB, which really makes this version of Cyrodiil look beautiful. Today, the new cities that we'll be focused on are Leyawiin, Kvatch, and Anvil. Once again, keep in mind that a lot of what you see is a work in progress, so not everything is fully implemented yet. Not every city in Cyrodiil will get this treatment for the mod, as that's being reserved for cities that play a part in the mod story. For instance, Coral and Cheydinhal will have their exterior walls designed, but will be locked off as they don't get visited in the mod story. One idea that had been discussed was to have more NPCs travel the roads between the different cities and settlements, giving them schedules and routines to make this version of Cyrodiil feel a bit more lively. In the case of the already implemented cities, such as Bruma, Bravel, and the Imperial City, you can see NPCs running around, having set daily schedules and such to make the cities feel much more immersive. For the new cities that we'll be able to explore, such as Leyawiin, interiors are being worked on. That way, players can make use of merchants in case they need potions, gear, or simply to sell all the stuff that they pick up as they play through the mod. Skingrad isn't planned to be a full city, however, given that it is on the road leading to story-focused cities like Kvatch and Anvil, there will likely be some touch-ups to it, so that it looks a bit more fleshed out as you travel through it. And while none of them are truly fully finished, Leyawiin, Kvatch, and Anvil all feel very true to their Oblivion counterparts. In the case of Kvatch, we're talking pre-destruction, obviously. NPCs have not been fully implemented for these work-in-progress cities, save for some of the guards that you'll see throughout, which that already feels like a really nice touch. Leyawiin feels pretty close to being done in terms of its exteriors, although I'd maybe like to see a little bit more detail and texture on some of the houses, such as the red and orange ones. The yellow houses are a really good example of the level of texture and detail that I would love to see in a final build. The handful of Leyawiin interiors that I do have access to already feel very loyal to their Oblivion versions, such as the Three Sisters Inn. Kvatch is a mix of buildings from the other cities, such as Leyawiin and Bravel, which is really kinda fitting. In Oblivion, you can visit Kvatch pre-Oblivion Gate opening, and that too is a mix of different architecture from the other Cyrodiil cities. Go figure. Bethesda didn't make all new building types just for the city to be destroyed immediately. Given that Kvatch being rebuilt is a collaborative effort from the other counties, I think this use of the other cities' buildings still works out lore-wise. I have always loved the architecture of Anvil, so I'm really happy to see this in the mod. Of course, there is still some work that needs to be done. The window textures are still a work in progress, for instance. But the tile set, the buildings and such, have all been made. Given the smaller size of the mod team, I continue to be incredibly impressed by the progress that's been made so far. Currently, Anvil seems to be missing its castle, and the docks do seem a bit scaled down as well. However, for these three new cities, it really does capture the feeling of being back in Oblivion. And I've always found that it's hard to make the game look like you've left the province of Skyrim and gone to another one. But this version of Cyrodiil has already gone a long way to really make it feel like you've left Skyrim behind. Now, let's talk a little bit about the story. If you're unfamiliar with the Rigmor series, might I recommend checking out my videos on it in order to get caught up? Or you can always play it for yourself, with both Rigmor of Bruma and Rigmor of Cyrodiil being available on PC and Xbox. Rigmor of Tamriel will be set 6 to 7 years after the events of the second mod. You, the Dragonborn, have established a new dynasty for the Empire, bringing back the days of the Dragonborn Emperors. Your daughter, Kintyra, who can be either adopted or biological depending on your choices, is destined to rule as part of a grand prophecy. Characters from the first two mods will return, such as Cassius, Rose, and Tish the Blade, along with several new characters as well. Rigmor of Cyrodiil leaned into more of the politics, with the counts of the different cities and how your coronation might be received from the other provinces, such as High Rock and Morrowind. So in addition to traveling to the different parts of Tamriel, it seems we'll spend more time in Cyrodiil itself, as we try to maintain peace across the once again growing empire. This really aims to be a massive experience. It's kinda crazy when you think about it. In the end, we're gonna have not one, not two, but 3 different mods that recreate Cyrodiil in Skyrim. Skyblivion, Beyond Skyrim, and the Rigmor series, each with their own goal and their own vision, and it'll be a really great way to see how each mod team interprets one of my favorite provinces in the series. I've gotten a lot of questions about when the mod will release, and right now, there's not a strict release date, and I'm someone who thinks that's best when it comes to modding. Don't put out a date or even an official release period until you're really confident or even 100% certain that you'll be able to meet it. I know we have a tentative 2025 release period for Skyblivion, and we even have an exact date for Fallout London. And in these cases, the teams were very confident in being able to meet those timelines. At this moment, Jim and the Rigmor team are hoping for a 2024 release, but even that isn't set in stone. A lot of progress has been made. Voice lines are being recorded, quest scripting is underway, and at the time of recording this video, we're still in Q1 of the year, so we still have most of 2024 ahead of us. If you'd like to stay caught up with the mod and its development, make sure to check out the Rigmor Facebook page, which receives updates and other behind-the-scenes info. And of course, you can expect a full playthrough of Rigmor of Tamriel here on the channel when it releases. And while you can always watch my videos to get caught up on the mods, I also recommend trying it out for yourself. While I would recommend both mods in the series, you can always play Rigmor of Cyrodiil without playing Rigmor of Burma first, as there's no dependency in the sequel's files. And if you're interested in playing Rigmor of Cyrodiil, I'm including a couple mods for it in the description. One that adds greater grass density, and another that acts as a weapon and armor replacer. But that's gonna be all for today. Once again, thank you to Jim for the early access build, and thank you to Brandy, who helped me with some of the mods info for this video. If you'd like to support the channel, check out the Patreon or the YouTube memberships, both of which get access to the Discord server. YouTube members also get access to the channel emotes, which can be used in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.